Hello, and welcome to episode 1 of Philosophy with me. And could we be starting on a more appropriate topic? As today we will be finding out whether or not God exists, and I can guarantee that by the end of this video, you will know the answer. Let's start with Hume, who is so petty he made a design argument just to debunk it. But let's take a look. Human artifacts, such as this clock, have parts organised to serve a purpose, here the purpose being to tell the time. We also see this design in nature, such as in the human body. These parts work with these parts to keep us alive. We know that this clock has these teleological properties because they've been designed by an intelligent being. And since similar effects usually have similar causes, we say that nature also has these teleological properties. Then we can come to the conclusion that it has also been designed. Also, the world is slightly more complex in this, so we can say that the designer has greater intelligence. But really, Hume objects to his own argument and says that the world is organic, like an animal or a vegetable, rather than a human-made machine. His point here isn't that the world is a vegetable, he just wants to show that both ideas are equally valid, and both feel like they are missing something, or are flawed. Furthermore, Hume asks, do they really have similar causes? For example, let's look at the world. Who's to say this wasn't just created by a semi-powerful, yet still finite being, who came in, put a few pieces in place and then died? I mean, it sure feels like that sometimes. So Hume's argument, predictably, doesn't work, though that's no great win for the God haters since it was set up to fail. So how about we look at someone who actually believed in what they said? Paley argued for spatial order, and said that nature contains it, and by extension contains design, and therefore has a designer. So far this sounds pretty similar to Hume, but Paley goes on to say that this designer must be distinct from what is designed, which makes sense, as to say the designer designed itself before it came into existence seems to be contradictory. Then Paley says that this mind is God, and therefore God exists. Okay, but how about this? Let's return to our machine, which in Paley's example would be a watch, and point out that the flaws and failures of it may let us question the existence of an intelligent designer, and we can then observe these flaws in the natural world. But even when we can see the failures of a clock, such as this one, we don't doubt that it was designed by someone. Maybe we just question the intelligence of that designer. However, Paley doesn't believe the universe's design is flawed, which is again a bit wrong, maybe. But he said that the fish are happy, so that appears to be the norm, and unhappiness is the exception. Hume again disputes this, saying that the malfunctioning of objects in nature does lead to suffering, so we can pretty safely assume our designer isn't perfect. Swinburne said that the universe contains temporal order, and this has either a scientific or personal explanation. And obviously science can explain that things do act in accordance with temporal order, but it fails to explain why. So let's look at a personal explanation. Swinburne says that temporal order can be explained by the human regularities of succession that we produce, and from analogy says nature must have a personal explanation. However, again, the world is quite big, and the universe is bigger than that, so the person responsible is probably also quite big. And there's only one guy I know who's that massive. This argument looks to be better, as it avoids problems with spatial order such as evolution or random chance, but it doesn't avoid Hume's question of like causes, and another problem is brought up just by asking, does temporal order require explanation at all? Maybe the fact that science can't explain it just proves that it is, as Russell argued, a brute fact. Swinburne still disagrees with this, saying that the random chance of temporal order just appearing is so improbable it cannot be accepted as fact, using another analogy that if a bomb was strapped to your chest and you had to pick out the ace of hearts from a deck of cards 10 times in a row to survive, and you did it, you wouldn't believe that you were just that lucky. But who knows what ways fate can go. Oh shit. And we're back at Hume. Now, I failed to mention before that Hume was an empiricist and therefore justifies claims for experience and would really like it if everyone else did that. If we do this, however, we will have fallen directly into Hume's anti-God trap, as if we look around, there isn't a whole lot of experience of universes being designed. On top of that, we only have one experience of the effective design, that being this, and since we don't have any experience of the origins of the world, or any world, we cannot claim that the universe was designed. There are some more arguments for this, like evolution, which uses Occam's razor to phase out our kind of thing of metaphysical beings, and there's just random chance, which is like a bunch of atoms got really good at roulette. There's that one clip of Neil deGrasse Tyson explaining the God of the Gaps, but you can just go and research that yourself because I've already spent a week on this and I'm not even a third of the way through. So, oh yeah, I said by the end of the episode you would know if God exists or not. Well, let me tell you, despite what I've led you to believe, you've already met God, and so have I.